understand the relation between the Ethereum and the DAI.
The thing is, let me again, what we have to go to slide number 7, DAI details. It is giving the details. Let me go over it.
So here is the slide.
Now, I want to create DAI, which is always equal to $1. How do I do it? What I'll do is, I will have buy some Ethereum, and I will put that Ethereum in a smart contract. That smart contract will issue me a DAI, which will be a kind of loan. But don't think of it in a kind of loan. If I put Ethereum, I told you I put 5,000 worth of Ethereum in my DAI contract, and it has issued me 3,000 DAI. That is the connection. Now, you are going to tell me that is going to be very complicated. I always have to, you don't have to even buy Ethereum. You can go to Coinbase or any other exchange and buy DAI directly from that. You do not have to create it. I was just giving you an example that you can create your own DAI. But if you don't want to create your own DAI, you can buy it from somebody else or buy it on exchange. I think, did you get it or?
Ji, thank you, sir. I get it.
I think. Anybody else?
No, sir, you can go ahead.
I think, please, could you lower your hand so that, okay. Now, how does DAI benefits the API economy? Has value designed to be stable over any period? Of course, it's stable, always equal to $1. Transparent, anybody can audit the payments which has been made from the one API developer to the API developer. No, Anish bhai cannot claim that I did not pay him $500 because it will be on the blockchain. Allow cross-border payments globally. Instant settlement. If I press within few milliseconds, Anish will have the money. Compared to credit cards, right now the fees is a little bit high. Not compared to credit cards, but still high. They are trying to reduce the fee even less on Ethereum blockchain. So therefore, the transaction fee will be very small. And it will be completely programmable. I can do whatever I want with it. I want to have a recurring payment. I want to do anything else. It will always happen. Therefore, these are the benefits of DAI, which we are going to even tell you. Let's go to the next slide. Slide number 9. I think slide number 9 and 8 are duplicates. Let's move to slide number 11.
This one? Sir, this one or next one?
Yeah, this one. This one is okay. No.
Okay.
This one. Very definition. Go back, please. Ethereum is a centralized platform. That's slide number 11.
This one?
Yes, thank you. Ethereum is a decentralized platform that runs smart contract applications that run exactly as programmed without any possibility of downtime, censorship, fraud, or third-party interference. Nobody can change it. We can also, as you can see in slide number 10, we also called it the world computer. Now let's move to slide number 11. The birth of Ethereum. What we want is When Bitcoin arrived, it has a special purpose at the beginning, which was it hosted Bitcoins. It recorded Bitcoins. It created Bitcoins. But what we want is now a new kind of blockchain, which is programmable, where I can run my programs, and that is Ethereum. We can create our own cryptocurrency on Ethereum. There's one default currency of Ethereum, which is Ether, but I can create my own. And I plan to do it. But the main difference is that you can program it it will still be running on the nodes and everybody will be using it. This is how Ethereum was born, and Ethereum is completely open source. Everybody has access to the source code of an Ethereum peer-to-peer node. Now let's move to slide number 14.
This one?
Anish, slide number 14.
Is this the slide number 14 or this one?
What does one get gas? How does one get gas?
Is this right, I guess?
This slide. Now, what is gas? When I send DAI from to Anish, the blockchain will record the transaction. In order to record the transaction, it charges some money, which is called the transaction fee for now. That transaction fee is called gas. But the problem is, where can you buy gas so that I can pay for the transaction? You won't find any gas on any exchanges. Only we purchase as a part of a transaction can only be bought with Ether. So whenever if you do not have Ether in your account, you will have difficulty in transferring DAI from one account to another. Ether needs to be sent along with the transaction. It needs to be expressly earmarked for purchase of gas along with the acceptable gas price. Gas is purchased from the transaction, the computation is executed, and unused gas is refunded back to the sender of the transaction. Now let me again repeat the whole thing. If I want to send DAI to Anish, I have to also send a little bit of Ethereum with my DAI, a small bit, for the transaction fees. What will happen is, when I send to the blockchain the address, Anish's address, and the amount of DAI I want to send, I also send a small bit of Ethereum, small, maybe 0.05 Ether. What it will do is, and tell it to please specifically charge this for the transaction. It will charge the transaction fees, and whatever is left is sent back, give it back to me. Therefore, there will be a small transaction fee called gas. Any questions? Yes, Raza.
Sir, but Ethereum gas fees for now is not a little bit. It's huge, I think. So we will have difficulty in sending DAIs, I think, because of gas fees.
The thing is, you have to compare it with, right now, credit card charges you 2%. What Raza is saying is that right now, Ether is, the gas is expensive. They are charging a lot. That is true, but it is being solved as we are working on it. All the people, developers are working on it. In the next few months, the gas will reduce, but still it is less than 2% charged by the credit card. And you can send cross-border without any restriction. Any other question, and Syed?
So who is defining the cost of the gas?
The people who are running the nodes. The people who are running the nodes will define, but it is changing. There's a new proposal where the blockchain itself will decide. I don't want to go into details. It's very complicated. But think of it as right now the nodes, which is called the miners, decide. But there's a lot of changes happening in the Ethereum community. It is going through the proof of stake as well as other changes. So therefore, just understand for now, just understand that there is some standard price is going to be in the future. Anybody else? Raza, you still have your raised hand. Is your question answered, or should I move forward?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. Now, let's move to slide number 15 with the heading Decentralized Applications. Decentralized Applications. Slide number 15. Now, DApp is a web application that is built on top of open decentralized peer-to-peer infrastructure services. A DApp is composed of at least a smart contract on a blockchain and a web front-end user interface. So therefore, we have a web interface which is connected to the blockchain directly. And we, for example, when we send money, what we do is the blockchain, the front end basically calls the wallet, which is MetaMask, and which calls the blockchain. There's no intermediate server which can change our message. In addition, many DApps include other decentralized components such as storage protocol and platform and other things, messaging and some things. But basically, a DApp is basically smart contract and a user interface. And you can have many other things, but that is the minimum. Now, what I have been now choosing a wallet, Ethereum wallet. And what is a wallet? We have to understand that. And which wallet should we use? Anish, we want to go to the slide choosing a wallet. Anish, I think you didn't hear me. Now, by wallet basically is, we are now on slide number 16, choosing a Ethereum wallet. A wallet is basically nothing else but a client-side program running on your computer. What it does is it holds your private key. It holds your key. And it also holds your public key. And what does it? Using your public key, it creates an account number where people can send money. And it keeps your private key secret. So therefore, you have to understand, if you do not back up your private key in the wallet and basically lose that computer, what if you did not back it up? Your account will be frozen and nobody will be able to use it because they won't even have your password. So therefore, it is very critical that basically, yes, Raza.
Sir, in a layman terms, wallet is like an account, and public key is like an account number, and private key is like a password. Sir, am I right?
Uh,
But it is
repeat the
decentralized.
repeat your thing.
Sir,
Repeat, please repeat.
I was saying that wallet, if we compare wallet to an account, so bank account, so wallet is like an account, bank like we have in bank account. Or wallet is like an account. Public key is like account number. So we can give it to another person, so he can send DAI or any other cryptocurrency. And private key is like a password. We don't tell anyone our password, and we can access our account through private key.
If you want to say it, if you want to say it like this, yes, it makes some sense. But the point is that it might complicate the whole thing even more. But generally, you are correct.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
Sir, I have another question. That
Uh-huh.
can we make our own smart contract
Of course,
like Ethereum have?
you
So,
not ETM like DAI. DAI is a smart contract. You can make your own smart contract if you want.
okay, sir. So we can make blockchain like Ethereum. Can we make?
You can also make your own blockchain, but then it will be quite difficult because you want to have people install it and a lot of people using it and so on. That will be the problem.
Okay, okay, sir.
Anybody else?
Uh,
We want to change the slide to Anish. Are you there?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is this the
Yes,
right
showing
one?
ICM wallet. We want to show this slide.
Okay, fine.
Wallet means a software application that manages your account. It holds your keys and can create and broadcast transaction on your behalf. If you choose a wallet don't like, you can change a wallet easily. Make a transaction to send your funds from the old wallet and export your private key and import them in the new wallet. Therefore, if you want to change the wallet, even that's not very difficult. What you can do is export your keys and import it in the new wallet, and then you will start using the new wallet. Let's move to the next slide. Now, there are different types of wallets: mobile wallet, desktop wallet, and web-based wallet. Now, what we are going to do is in this class, we are going to use the web-based wallet, but you can also have a mobile wallet or a desktop wallet. As we already mentioned, that we are going to use MetaMask. Anish, please change the slide again. MetaMask is a browser extension wallet that runs on your browser. It's easy to use and convenient for testing. As it's able to connect to variety of Ethereum nodes, MetaMask is a web-based wallet. Any questions? All of you install MetaMask so that when we get to the demo, we are able to play with it. And we are going to send money to each other. You are going to send me a lot of money. I'm going to become rich. Anybody else? Let's move forward. Anish, please change the slide again. Now, who has the control? As I already mentioned, you have your. Now, look at the part. Each user can control their own private keys. This means control access to funds and is only restricted who has the private key. And you have the private key. If you lose the private key, everything is gone. And this, basically the private key and the public key pair is basically the wallet. It does nothing else but has this connection, talks to the different blockchains and so on. Let's move to the next slide. Anish, please move to the next slide. So therefore, what I was saying is, with control comes big responsibility. You have total control. Nobody can stop you from destroying your own money, from losing your own money. If you lose your private keys, you lose access to the funds and contracts. No one can help you regain your access. Your fortune is locked forever. Some users choose to give control over to the keys by a third-party custodian, such as an exchange. Some people can create account. I prefer wallets, but you can have open account on Coinbase or other exchanges. In which case, you only have a user ID and password, and they will basically control it. But I don't trust them. Otherwise, I would have never used blockchains in the first place. Let's move to the next slide. MetaMask. We are basically go to metamask.io and install your MetaMask, and then we'll play with it as we go forward. Next slide, please. You will see a new icon once you install MetaMask. To click on it to get started. You will be asked to create the terms and conditions, and then you create a new wallet by entering a password. But now the question arises, if you want to transfer, how do you make sure that the private key can be recreated? What happens is, when you are creating an account on MetaMask, it will ask you words, a number of words, let's say 15 words. Basically, you print, it gives you 15 words, which represents your private key. You basically print that out and keep it as a safe place in your home. Because anybody who has access to those 15 or 16 words can create the private key from those words. Therefore, you create a backup of the private key by basically storing those words. When it will ask you for the words. It will not ask you for the words. It will show you the words and basically ask you to back it up. This is for future. Sometimes if you lose the key or your hard drive is destroyed, you can recreate it. Let's move to the next slide. Now, the problem is we are poor people and we do not have much Ethereum. How are we going to test our application and test everything? The thing is, Ethereum has one main Ethereum network, but there are also test networks where everything is fake, but everything else is the same. So therefore, there is Ropsten test network and Kovan test network. Using Ropsten, you can select when you are opening MetaMask on the right side, top will show you. You can basically select a test network to test out the theory. Because we don't have Ethereum, we don't have the money to buy Ethereum. Later on, we'll use the bus to learn. We are going to use a test network. In this case, we are going to use Ropsten. Next slide, please. Any other questions? Any questions so far?
Sir, no question yet. Let me check the chat. Maybe there are some questions.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, no, sir, not yet. No question is yet available.
Whenever there are no questions, I'm always afraid. Either I'm such a good teacher that everybody understands everything, or nobody understands anything.
Sir,
I
yes,
don't know.
you are absolutely right. Again, I looks that I guess this is my personal opinion. It's not on behalf of the other people, that we need a little recap so people could understand, especially the network thing. Maybe some students are lost because they are not able to understand the switching networks and the testing networks.
Okay. Anish, why don't you explain it in your own language?
Sir, in my point of view, let me back to the main thing that there is a Ethereum network exists where we can buy and sell Ethereum using MetaMask. It's very real, and you have to pay. And if you buy some Ethereum using by investing your dollar, it might possible that after 1 day or 2 day, either your dollar value would be less or more. For example, if you buy $100 Ethereums, for example, I guess it's a 0.02% of Ethereum. Maybe after 2 or 3 days, their $100 becomes $80 or $120. So there are real challenges there. For learning and working purpose, especially for the developer like me, there are some other test network exists. The first one, I guess, which we are going to use is a Ropsten test network. It's a public network for testing blockchain and network. And there's a Ethereum is available over here. Ether is available over here, but it does not have any value. But you can test the API, the functionality, and the transaction execution. Same like the other testing networks available. When you buy and sell on the test network, you doesn't have to pay, or you doesn't have to get any profit and loss. So that's as far as I understand.
Yes, yeah, perfectly. So perfect. Let's go to move to the next slide and go to the next slide.
Okay. So, but the point 5 and 6, I guess it need to be some understanding. So, if I guess it's
Yes,
not.
Right now, just ignore 5 and 6. Let's move to the next slide.
Okay.
Now the question is, even on the test network, how do we go and find, how do we get the Ethereum? Normally, we are going to go to Coinbase and buy Ethereum or any other exchange. Anish, your sound is coming through. Okay. So the thing is, how to get Ethereum? Normally, I was telling you, you go to exchange and buy Ethereum. Open an account in Coinbase, which is the biggest exchange, but you can go to other exchanges and give them some dollars and you will get Ethereum. But for us developers, how do we do it? These are called faucets. Faucet is nothing but a tap, water tap, where you can get free Ethereum. You open a MetaMask account. In that account, you can click on the account ID. Then you go to this what do you call faucet, and in that faucet you give your account ID and it will transfer some Ethereum to you. It is that simple. So therefore, it's a faucet is a fancy word for getting free, a page where you can get free Ethereum for the test network, not the real Ethereum, by the way. Any questions? Any questions?
Sir, no, so far, no question I can see in the explanation. And some people have some problem regarding to understand the gas fee. So would you please explain it again, the gas fee?
What did they not understand?
The gas fee, the gas charges on transaction, GS.
Gas transactions. The gas transactions are very simple. Anytime you are doing a transaction on the Ethereum blockchain, the gas you have to pay some fee. That is called gas. And you pay the fees in the form of Ethereum.
Sir, why it called gas? Was any link between?
Gas is just like petrol. They're saying gas, you run a car with gas. That's why they call it gas. In America, they call petrol, we call it petrol, they call it gas.
Okay. The short
Therefore,
form of gasoline.
Gasoline. Therefore, they have named it gas so that you are able to run your contract. In order to run a contract, you use gas. That's what they're saying. Let's move to the next one slide.
Sir, so it means when I'm moving to the next slide, it means the gas is some charges that we have to pay to making a transaction. It's a P2P transaction.
Exactly.
Even it's a P2P transaction, it's still we have to pay some charges to bear the system running.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Now there are two types of accounts. Think about it. One is my personal account, which is called externally owned accounts. I have an account key which represents my account. There's another account which is called the contract account. I can send money to a contract. I can send money to Anis, and I can also send money to a smart contract which has an address. Isn't it marvelous? Because if I can send to a smart contract, then it can do, for example, DAI contract. If I send Ethereum to DAI contract, it gives me Ether. It gives me DAI. So therefore, there are two ways you can send two kinds of accounts. One is externally owned accounts, and the other one are the contract accounts. Now, who owns a particular account? Whoever has the digital private keys, Ethereum addresses, and signatures using those private keys. Whoever has the private key, he owns the account. That's just as simple as that. The externally owned accounts are whoever has the private key. For the smart contract accounts, it's easy. You just have to have the address and send the money to them. And let's move to the next slide.
Sir, can you please explain again contract account?
Let's go back to the previous slide.
Sir, this one?
This one, yes, thank you. Yeah, yes, who asked the question? Daniel?
Sir, I was asking that can you please explain again contract account, because I have difficulty in
the thing is, you have to understand. I was telling you about things. If I have a MetaMask account, that is an externally owned account. Who owns that account? Who controls it? It is my private key. I have the private key, only I can control it.
Yes, sir.
And you can send money to my address. There's another thing, contract account, which is basically a smart contract. A piece of code on the blockchain which has a specific address. Just like I have an address, the contract also has an address. So therefore, there are two kinds of accounts. And who controls the smart contract? Nobody. The code controls it. So therefore, I can send money to that address also. Actually, I can call. Yes, Ahmed.
What was the benefit of sending money to contract account, or is it for code running? Means code execution?
Yes, exactly. Imagine this, no, Ahmed. We basically, how did we create DAI? We sent Ethereum to a DAI contract, and it sent us back DAI token. So therefore, if we could not send the, how do we send money to the contract? This is allowing it. Now you understand, Raja?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, there is
Let's move
another
to the-
question.
Uh-huh.
Some question on the chat. The first one is that, sir, who is receiving the gas transaction fee? Is it distributed to all nodes?
No, it is distributed to a specific node. Whoever finalizes the thing, which is consensus mechanism, we are not. Whoever gives a proof of work at this stage, and later on, it will be a different proof of stake. But right now, don't have to worry about it. Right now, just think of it: the miners get the fees.
Okay.
And who are the miners? Who are basically generating consensus. Let's move to the next slide.
Yes, sir. And the one thing is that somebody wants that Ethereum address means a little explanation regarding the Ethereum address.
Account address, we are going to show you in MetaMask.
Okay. Okay. Somebody asked that consensus, is it consensus regarding the all nodes of the under smart contract or a certain nodes? I guess you need to repeat some consensus details.
The thing is, in consensus, just think of it, don't use, because the consensus is a very difficult word for some people to understand, including me. Think of it, agreement. How do we agree that a new transaction is a valid one? The mechanism by which we make an agreement, we come to an agreement, is called consensus. We don't have to right now because it's changing. We don't have to understand it. The users do not have to understand the consensus mechanism. When we later on study blockchain in detail, we are going to do it. But at this stage, it's not required. Let's move to the next slide. And externally owned accounts can, yes, go ahead. Anish, you were saying something?
Sir, there's a raised hand. I guess Nabiha want to say something. So before you proceed
Yes,
to
Nabila,
this
go ahead.
slide.
Okay. Nabila.
Sir, can we program smart contacts account, or it is already programmed?
You,
Contact account.
I didn't hear you. You have to speak louder.
So can we program contact accounts, or it is already programmed?
It is already, we have uploaded a code. Somebody has a smart contract which has address. You can also upload it, the contract.
Okay.
Once the code is deployed, then it has address.
Okay, I guess Nabiha want to know that the smart contract we need to program when we were starting our contract, or it is already programmed by something or some node.
It
and we
depends.
just
The thing is, if you want to call a program on the blockchain, either you upload it or somebody else has uploaded already. In the case of DAI, somebody has also already uploaded it. I can create a new thing called Partcoin, and then it will be a smart contract for Partcoin. But then in that case, I have to write the contract.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So therefore, addresses. An externally owned account can send messages to other externally owned accounts. I can send a message to Anish account. But in order to make sure, how do Anish knows that I send it? I'll use my private key to sign that message. And that message, when Anish receives it, Anish will use the public key to make sure that it was sent by me. We have to understand, the contrast cannot initiate a transaction. Only human beings can initiate a transaction. By human beings, I mean externally created accounts. Let's move to the next slide. Any questions before I start with the slide? Any question?
Not yet, sir. You can proceed.
Okay, no problem. Let's move forward. Private keys are not used directly in the Ethereum system. Now, what is this saying? Basically, it is saying private key never is published. It's always in your wallet. Nobody sees your private key. Account addresses are derived directly from private key. Private key uniquely determines a single Ethereum address known as an account. Therefore, you have a private key. Using that private key, you generate address. And nobody knows that private key. And excess of control of funds used are using a digital signature. And how do you use a digital signature? You basically use your private key to basically sign a, by signing, you take a message, put it, use private key to process it, and whatever you get out of it is called a signature. It makes sure that nobody else is sending that message. Only you are doing it. Next slide. Now let's understand. I've already mentioned in public and private keys a number of times, but we are going to address it again. In Ethereum, we use public key cryptography to create public and private key pairs. Now let's understand what is public and private key pairs again. What? Yes, Raza.
Sir, digital signature is like using private key for transaction is a digital signature.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Now, what is public and private key? Mathematically, it's a mathematical concept. What happens is, let's assume we have two keys. If I encrypt something, which is basically process, let's see, I have a number 2. It is my private key. Of course, it's never going to be number 2, but I'm giving you an example. What we will do is, we take the message, take the transaction, and multiply everything by 2 or divide everything by 2. I'm just giving an example. This is not the case, but just to make you understand. This is the private key. Now, the beauty of it, normally what happens is that when I encrypt, divide it by 2, all the message, then to get the original message, I have to multiply by 2. Let me repeat again. In a single key system, if I want to encrypt something, you give me a letter. I divide all the letter, convert the words into numerics, which already are binary numbers, and divide it by 2. In order to see the original message, you will have to multiply by 2. Am I right? But in a public and private key system, what happens is, to encrypt, I divide by 2, and to decrypt, I use a public key, which is some other key, which is 5. When I multiply it, you get the original message to understand it. So therefore, if I do not have to expose both my keys, I keep my private key private and only make the public key available to the public. In Ethereum, we use the public key cryptography to create public-private key pairs. Together, they represent the Ethereum account by providing respectively a public accessible account handle. Third thing is the private key controls access to all the accounts, as I already mentioned. So therefore, You start with a private key and create an address and create a public key. That's it. And everybody knows my address and everybody knows my public key, but nobody knows my private key, which is only saved in my wallet. Let's move to the next slide. So what is a wallet? Wallet is a software application that serves as the primary user interface for Ethereum. Your user interface is MetaMask. The wallet controls access to users' money, managing keys and addresses, tracking the balance, and creating and signing transactions. Ethereum wallets can also interact with contracts such as ERC tokens. What are ERC20 tokens? It is a special kind of smart contract with a specific functions. For example, it says transfer money, delete money, and whatever. It has a number of specified functions with specified parameters. It is a standard which is called ERC20, which means most of the tokens right now are ERC20. And you can keep ERC20 type of tokens in the wallets like MetaMask. Let's move to the next slide. Now, what is a token? Now, what is the difference between a coin and a token? Ethereum is a coin because it is the native currency of the Ethereum blockchain. But token is something which you create on top of Ethereum using a smart contract like a ERC20 token. You can represent anything in a blockchain. For example, you can represent your house as a token on a blockchain, which is called NFTs, NFT type, special kind of token. I don't want to go into details at this stage. It's too much information for you. DAI is a ERC20 token. I repeat, DAI is a ERC20 token. And you can keep it in a wallet. Let's move to the next slide, please. Now, thing is, it's not just blockchain you can have tokens. Traditional tokens, people used to come to my house and office and try to sell me pizza tokens, that if I give them some money, they will give me a token to buy pizza cheaply. I never bought these tokens, but a lot of my friends have a lot of these tokens. And some tokens come in the newspapers. Therefore, there are difference between blockchain tokens and traditional tokens. Traditional tokens were on paper. Now this is a digital form of token. Let's move to the next slide. As I mentioned already, tokens are right now used, some of the tokens like Ether or others are used as currency. But you can create any kind of token. For example, I told you, you can represent your house as a token. In games, you can have tokens for machine guns and other things for playing. Tokens can be anything. Let's move forward. Next slide, please. Anish bhai, next slide, please. Now, as I mentioned, ERC20 is a standard which says that the smart contract will have at least these functions, which will say transfer money, that's example, destroy money. Of course, We won't like the destroy money function, but I'm just giving you an example. Have some special functions, mainly transfer money. Now these functions will have, just like a function in any programming language, it has some parameters and it has return time. You give a function the name of the account and the number of Ethereums you want to transfer, ERC20 token will allow that. ERC20 tokens are called fungible tokens. What does it mean, fungible? NFT is a non-fungible token. By fungible, we mean all the tokens are the same. Like all the Pakistani rupee or US dollars are the same. But NFT, which is a non-fungible token, they are different in the sense that one can represent your house and the other one can represent my house. So therefore, they are representing different things. But ERC20 is a fungible token, which all the tokens are the same. Let's move to the next slide. Please, Anish bhai. Now look at this. It's an example of ERC20 token functions. Total supply, it represents in integer form the total supply. Balance of, if you give your address, it will return a balance. Transfer from, approved, and so on. It will have these kind of methods. All of you are programmers, you understand standard way of representing, and the wallet knows that every ERC20 token will have these methods. Smart contract will have these methods. Let's move forward. Any question? So up to now, I have only mentioned that ERC20 tokens have functions, but it also has events. Something happens, it will fire an event. But right now we don't, because it's a programming thing. When we get into programming, we think of it. Right now we are only using it. Therefore, let's move to the next slide, please.
Sir, while moving to the next slide, some people on the chat want to know the ERC20, a little recap of regarding ERC20.
Just go to the slide previous to this one. ERC20 token, no, the next one, sorry. Which we had the program in it, the functions. It's nothing, it's ERC20 token says that it must have these functions. That's it. Nothing else. Let's move to the next slide. Any questions?
Sir, fine, we can go ahead, but I would suggest that we should recap of or end this session. If this is my personal suggestion, because I guess that there's a lot of things people needs to review and make themselves ready.
Okay. What we are going to do is, because we are running out of time.
Okay.
What we are going to do is, before the demo, in the next class, we are going to review the whole thing.
Okay.
And in the next class, Shahrukh and you are going to review this.
Okay, this is fine. So you can proceed some more slides. In the next session, people would be allowed in first to ask their question, their concern related to the slides, and then we will provide some practical demonstration.
In the next class, we are going to first give the demo and then revise the whole thing. That will be perfect. Let's go to the next function and this next slide. As already said, smart contract. What is a smart contract? When smart people hear the term smart contract, their imagination runs wild. A smart contract is just a fancy name for the code that runs a blockchain. That's it. That runs on a blockchain. A smart contract is a piece of code that is stored on the blockchain, and when you run a transaction on it, it runs. That's it. Normally, the language that is used on Ethereum is Solidity. Just giving you details. Let's move to the next slide. Now, everybody will try to follow this dialab. I've given all the details. You go and research it if something is missing. Next class, as we start, Anis and Shahrukh are going to demonstrate this dialab, and then we will revise the presentation, and then we will move over to the TypeScript later on. Any questions before we finish the class, because we have run out of time?
So can I
Any
ask a
questions?
question? Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, I wanted to ask if a certain transaction made in a blockchain mistakenly, so can we revoke it or undo it? Is there a
No,
way?
no. Nothing. There's no way of undoing a transaction on blockchain.
So, sir, how
You can
we
create.
make sure
If you send,
customer safety?
if the money is sent, it is sent. If I don't return it, nobody can force me to return it.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir,
Any other questions?
Sir, why we are stick on only DAI? There are also many other stable coin. Why specifically DAI?
Best. Very good question. Because it is a decentralized coin. Nobody controls it. The smart contract controls it. All the rest of the stable coins are controlled by somebody, and if I trusted everybody, I would never be using decentralized application in the first place.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Nobody can.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Yes, Nadeem.
I have one question. You know, you want to implement all this system. How you can correlate this in Pakistani system? You know.
How can we coordinate with what?
Correlate all this system with Pakistani system. For example, I'm in Pakistan. I want to pay money. How I will pay by credit card, by debit card? I have to pay by bank.
Nobody can stop you. Government of Pakistan? First of all, our constitution protects us. Constitution of Pakistan protects us. I can do anything in my home if I'm not hurting anybody. Running a program on my computer, who can stop me?
No, how to pay this money? I mean, I have to deposit. I have to buy all these things. I have to pay by debit card, credit card. How I will purchase this?
The thing is, if you have the money for example, right now, if you have the money in your wallet, you can easily. The problem is getting your money in the wallet. That is the problem.
Yeah, that how to do that in Pakistan environment.
Once you have your wallet, for example, I'll give you an example. I do it all the time. If you have money in your wallet or your account, a work account or anything place else, you can transfer that money to Coinbase and then transfer it to your bank account or whatever. Or you can transfer it through the different cards, Skrill accounts. Once you have that money, you can create an account on any exchange, and now they are decentralized exchanges which nobody controls. You can convert that and then transfer it.
That is okay, sir. But I am saying, if I am buying first time, how I can buy this one? What is the source of buying this one? This blockchain money. How I can buy first time? If for example I'm in Pakistan, should I use my debit card, my credit card, or how I will buy?
The thing is, if you have a credit card, you can create from that credit card, you can get the money and receive it, convert it to DAI through any exchange.
Through any exchange. Exchange mean this money exchange?
Coinbase, not exchanges in Pakistan, international exchanges or which are available, their accounts are available on the internet. Coinbase is an example of it, but there are hundreds of exchanges.
Mhm. So which are famous exchanges? For
Yes.
example, which exchange you are
Anybody
using?
else?
Sir, can
May
you
I